So if you have an organization where you have a lot of people and they have different responsibilities and they work in different job spaces, and you'd like to understand what those jobs are and those responsibilities are, and you'd really like them to make sure they understand those things. And if your organization does reorganizations occasionally where people have to play musical chairs and move around, and you want to make sure that those assigned responsibilities land in the right lap, and you'd like to know how to do that more efficiently, stick around. So one of the things that organizations, especially large organizations, have to deal with is they're going to have to reorganize, right? They're going to have probably new lines of business, new areas that are going to pop up that they have to handle, new systems that come into place that might actually affect the organization, how it's structured. And so they have to respond and they have to move people around. And that happens a lot in the Department of Defense. It happens a lot in any organization that's large. And so one of the things that we realized was knowing where people are at was a real struggle. As we looked throughout the department and we worked in organizations, helping them with their knowledge management and helping them with their processes and get them automated, we ultimately found out that they were moving people around a lot and they needed to know who was where and they needed to know what they were doing and what they were responsible for doing, because the organization typically had a mission, and out of that mission came specific things that it was chartered as an organization to be responsible for, and it would pass those things out to different people in the organization to make sure they got done. And when people started to move around, those responsibilities oftentimes get dropped or lost or missed. And then that annual thing comes along where they were supposed to do this thing and it didn't get done, right? And then somebody's in trouble, right? We're having a problem. And so what we want to do is try to fix that by creating what we called a job jar. That's what typically the organizations at the headquarters agencies and the department would call these spreadsheets they'd maintain. And they'd maintain them everywhere. Everybody that had some little office or directorate or a place where they had a few people, a team, they would have a job jar. It was a spreadsheet and it had the list of names and who was responsible for what. Well, we said, gosh, why don't we just put that in one place for the entire organization, manage it in DoD 365 so that everybody could get to it, and then let's make it to where we have all the organization's responsibilities prioritized, if we want to look at it that way. And we've got people, maybe one, maybe more than one, assigned to each responsibility, the office they work in, and maybe when that responsibility has some deliverables that are due on an ongoing basis. So we get some context around these different responsibilities, not only what the deliverables are and who the people are that are responsible for it, but also the office that that person works for and maybe the dates that those deliverables come in on. Really good information, right? We can carve it and slice it up in a variety of ways to visualize different things in different ways that might be important at different times. But the really important part about this we learned was when the reorganization comes. Because when reorgs would hit, that is when it would be a disaster trying to figure out, do we have all the bases covered when we get done here? Because we moved Bob over to where Sue was, and because Bob's in this new place and Sue's not there anymore, who picked up Bob's responsibility that stayed in that other office? And Bob was like the guy who knew how to do that. And the new people don't know how to do that, don't know anything about it. So if we don't have something like this job jar solution, we lose sight on that little thing Bob did that is important once a year or maybe a couple times a year. But it's really important during those times. And we lose that. Well, we don't lose it with this solution. Right now we can take and we can rack and stack all the things that have to get done in an organization, all its responsibilities. We can align that up with who the people are that could possibly do those responsibilities. And gosh, that makes it easy during the reorgs to figure out who should probably go where and what offices should hold those responsibilities. This was a huge time saver for several organizations in the headquarters so far that we applied this solution to. They love it. They love it. And they love also just on a daily basis, knowing where to go to talk to who about what. Like finding people in their organization that are responsible for something that they need to know about is real easy to look up in this solution. So if you feel like that's something that your organization has been struggling with and you'd like to implement a solution like this within it to get that monster under control, please feel free to give us a call.